Hello and welcome to this new video about how I'm taking care of my mental health in 2023. For context, an introduction to this video is I studied at the University of Cambridge, but I did my first year from 2021 to 2022 at Cambridge. Then this academic year just passed, so 2022 to 2023, I did the first term at Cambridge. And in this term, I got awarded, a scholarship / exchange program, which meant that I could spend the rest of the year in Italy, meaning that I would have to defer my studies. We call it, what do you call it, Cambridge? I'm thinking rusticate, that's the Oxford word. Intermit my studies. So basically, I'll be going into my second year next year. And I was so used to just working, having so many deadlines at Cambridge in my first year. I was a part of the Cambridge Cougars, or now the Cambridge Lions, the cheerleading team, which was a big commitment. I was a part of other societies, and yeah, just basically being a Cambridge student is already a lot of work. So I kind of didn't really have to think much about how to take care of my mental health, because it was almost just like, right, don't have time for that, let's just go and get all these things done. Or obviously I still take care of my mental health, but it really wasn't, I didn't actually have to make a plan of, okay, what are my mental health needs, until I left the Cambridge bubble. So yeah, my experience leaving the Cambridge bubble is as follows. So my first time in Italy, it was a bit tough to start off with, because obviously it's a different culture, completely different routine, and also a very different university. So pretty much a lot of things were different. And also I was obviously trying to speak Italian all the time, and my Italian, it was good, but it wasn't that good. So it basically meant there was still a language barrier. Even though people could speak English in my college, I was still like, no, I want to speak Italian. So yeah, there was still struggling with the language. And I almost questioned what purpose I had when I arrived, because I was used to having like very few free hours a day, and in those 3 hours I'd probably be at training, doing cheer, or after work just hanging out with friends. There was always a party going on. There's always so much going on at Cambridge that I kind of questioned, what am I meant to be doing here? Like, what is my purpose? Especially because I arrived in exam season, so like everyone was just kind of studying, because, well, I'd arrived when they were doing exams, so fair enough. And basically through trial and error, I figured out the following, how many tips? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tips and 2 bonus tips of how I can take care of my mental health and what is necessary for me. So it might be different for you, but I assume quite a few of them will probably have in common. So I just want to share what I'd found. Okay, so the first thing that I found was actually pretty specific to me. It was about eating 3 times a day. And I know that might sound really, really simple, but it is incredibly important to me. Also because I've had quite a disturbed relationship with food in the past. I had orthorexia, for quite a few years in my teens. And that was really difficult. Obviously having a disturbed relationship with food was tough. And even though I consider myself to be completely healed, and I think I've got food freedom now, well, I know I've got food freedom now, it can still, like, if there's ever a time in your life where you're not doing so well, it's possible for it to crop up again, or at least I've found. Not so much anymore, but like in the first kind of year or so after, like, considering myself healed from my eating disorder, maybe if I was really emotionally fragile, that could crop up. So one thing I'm saying is I have to eat 3 times a day, like, period. There's no discussion about that. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 3 square meals. Because if you think about it too much, you can just think yourself into oblivion and be like, oh no, I shouldn't eat because, I did X, Y, Z, and that means I don't deserve a meal, or, I'm not hungry, so I don't deserve a meal. No, we're not, none of that. No. You're eating 3 meals a day. That's the tea. Thank you very much. I also feel that if you've ever had any problems, I mean, also, the disclaimer, I'm not obviously a professional or anything, this is just my experience, but I found that, considering I had problems with kind of binging and restricting before, if I didn't eat 3 meals a day, it would just get me back into this unhealthy loop. So eating 3 meals a day was non-negotiable. And I've done another video on food, insert like mention here, but essentially, Italy was really healing for my relationship with food. It helped me to stop any form of restricting, and I don't want to get into this because I've spoken about this in other videos, but essentially I was vegan, and that was really, really good for me at the time, and I've stopped now, and I know that was the right decision for me, and I'm not anti-vegan, I still love eating vegan food, but yeah, Italy was incredibly healing for my relationship with food, and just eating 3 meals a day, it gives you a sense of routine. It doesn't have to be a really, really big meal, but it's just a social time for me at the college. They had breakfast. Well, I went every single day at 8 a.m. or 8:30 for breakfast, 1 p.m. for lunch, and 8 p.m. for dinner. So it was the same time every single day. I got into a routine, and it was just good to be like, you know, if I wake up, I've got nothing else going on today. I mean, I was really lucky because I have my food provided. At least I know that 3 times a day I had these things to be doing, and it stopped me thinking like, oh, you know, I should eat late, or I ate lunch late, so I should eat this later, or I should skip, you know, I should skip this meal. No. So the second thing that really helped me was exercise. Obviously, I don't do exercise every day. I need to have a rest day. But for me, especially, it helped me with this sense of having a routine. And I mean, there's so many studies showing how, you know, exercise not only helps like regulate a bunch of stuff. I don't really know, I'm not a scientist, but you know, it helps, you know, in release endorphins. I don't know, I'm not a scientist, but I know it makes you feel good. It releases the feel good chemicals, and for me especially, it helped me. I mean, I have ADHD and I don't have any medication. Not encouraging this, not saying anyone else should do this, it's just my experience. Yeah, not encouraging this whatsoever. I'm not saying you should change your if you have ADHD, that you should change anything just because you saw some random guy on YouTube talking about it. But for me personally, I had kind of self-medicated before I even knew I had ADHD by doing exercise pretty much every day. And that just gave me a real sense of, well, routine. It made me feel happy. It warded away depression when I was struggling with depression. And yeah, it was just been really, really good for me. It's not necessarily going to the gym and lifting really, really heavy weights and doing super intense exercise. It could just be going for a walk, getting outside, going for a short run, if even that, doing a 10-minute ab workout in my study break. I don't know, something that just means that I'm not sitting down all day. So actually nicely links to the third mental health need of mine, which is going outside. I couldn't stand to just be sitting in front of a screen all day. I need to get outside. I need to be in nature, hence where I am now. It's really, really gorgeous. And at the end of the day, you know, humans are meant to be outside. We're not meant to spend all our time inside. So being outside, spending time with nature has been crucial. For me, and that's why I struggle. I mean, where I live in the countryside in England, so I mean, I'm literally just sitting kind of near a reservoir right now, and there's no sound, there's no one going past, so it's good to have like this place. I'm really, really lucky to have this place where I can just connect with nature one-on-one. And I found it really difficult sometimes in Italy when I was in year abroad, because I was in a city, and like there was not many green spaces, and that was a massive need of mine, but I managed to scout them out and go there when I could. But yeah, at least going outside every single day is a massive need of mine. A fourth one I wrote is deep conversation. I feel like between work and 100,000 activities, if you've got a busy life, or just, you know, even if you've got a chill day, you're kind of by yourself, I realize I need to have a deep conversation every day. Not a deep conversation about like, what's your biggest insecurity and why? Or like, what would you do if this plague, I don't know, something really deep like that. But an actual meaningful conversation that isn't just, hey, how are you? I feel that that's, some days I would just be so het up organizing things, or I don't know, just by myself, that I didn't actually properly connect with anyone. And connecting with somebody is something I need to do every single day to have an interesting conversation. I know that sounds basic, but it is a need of mine, and I think it's a need of most people. And I know that a lot of these tips will seem basic, and you might think like, why is this guy just telling me like I need to have exercise? Like, obviously that's gonna help with my mental health. But this combination of all these 8 things are the things that keep me happy, and it keeps my mental health in check. And yeah, it's just, ever since I've kind of written these things down, it has helped me a lot with my mental health. So that's why I wanted to share with it. It might be different for you, but yeah. And this deep conversation could just be like FaceTiming somebody. It could be with someone in real life, anything like that. And by deep, I just mean meaningful, not necessarily like super, super deep, like I mentioned beforehand. But then finally, I also put, well, not finally, I put a face-to-face interaction. I think that especially nowadays, a lot of people hybrid work, a lot of people work on their laptops. I need to have a face-to-face interaction with somebody. Again, insert study if I find one. But I read online that, and I know from lived experience, that actually speaking to somebody face-to-face, it just hits different to FaceTiming somebody. It's a human need. You need to connect with people in real life. That's how humans are made. We weren't like, mankind wasn't born with like FaceTime and stuff. So yeah, face-to-face interaction is something that just, yeah, I needed, and it made me feel happy. Yeah, so I said working on a passion project. It doesn't have to be something academic related. It can just be, and it normally isn't a passion project. It's something you actually enjoy and you just really love working on. For me, speaking languages, learning languages, and YouTube. I'm trying to think of any other passions of mine. Reading, anything that you just really like doing. It makes you feel good. It makes you, and I actually was doing a application for an internship the other day, and they said, we want to see your strengths, because it's shown that when you're doing something you're good at, you feel better about yourself. If I spent all day, I don't know, working on a science project I was awful at, I'd probably have lower self-confidence, and I'd think I was stupid, and I'd be more likely to speak to myself in a negative way because I'm working on something that I'm not good at. But when I'm like learning languages, I'm like, yeah, I'm good at this. Or like, I don't know, I'm doing a YouTube video and I find myself funny. Hopefully you guys do too sometimes. If not, that's fine. But, you know, I find myself funny, or like I do some editing. I'm like, that's cool. It's something I'm proud of. It's like, I feel like I've made something out of the day. Even if it's journaling, just something that you feel you're good at will help. Well, it helped me. So yeah, doing something I feel I'm good at has helped me a lot. Working on a passion project, it makes me feel like I'm achieving something. It makes me feel like I'm just not rotting away in my room. And it makes me feel like I'm making the most of my time. And yeah, second to last, I put having a regular routine. And this is actually not something I chose to do. I was kind of enforced upon me because, like I said previously, the meals for my college was 8, well, at least they had like a little window, but I basically went every single day at 8, 1 and 8 for all my meals. So it meant that I just got into this routine, and it's just good. It means that you get up out of bed and you don't have to think like, oh, should I have a shower first? Should I read? Well, maybe that's a bit nerdy of me. Maybe most people don't think that. Should I have a shower first? Should I just stay in bed? You know, what should I do? What should I get up? If you've got free time, for example, you know, that sort of feeling in the holidays when you're like, oh, what do I do with my life? Well, I felt that a bit. I felt that a bit when I was in Italy. I was like, well, I don't actually, like my classes essentially, they weren't like compulsory attendance. And my exams, well, I didn't actually have to do them. They didn't count for Cambridge. So it was kind of like, well, what am I doing? Like, But having this routine of, you know, every single day I have to get up and I have to eat breakfast by 9. It means that I don't wake up and think like, have like an existential crisis as soon as I wake up. I'm like, right, no time for thinking. Let's just go to breakfast. And normally I give myself like 45 minutes to get ready for breakfast, if even that. So it's like, you know, get up, go to breakfast, and you'll see people. And it just avoids like any not nice thoughts like creeping in to the start of the day. It starts you off in a good way. Like you get back from breakfast, it's 10 and you've already like spoken to like 5 people. You've already had a good breakfast. You've already, you know, got out of bed. You've made yourself look presentable. And I sometimes like try and wear like smart clothes just because I was like, you know, it makes me feel better about myself. So yeah, it was good. And also going to bed, I find that if sometimes, you know, I go to bed at 4 a.m. and then the next day I go to bed at 10, I just kind of lose sense of like what's happening, like what time it is. And not only that, I just lose a sense of routine. And you've gathered from this video that a sense of routine is very important to me. But essentially going to bed early-ish, or at least the same time every day, now it's about 11, is good. And I know I'm a sucker for a morning routine. Like I love like getting up at 5 a.m. and doing all these things, but it's realistically, it's not really compatible with actual life. It's not compatible, especially if you're at university. And if it is, if you are doing that, you're probably missing out on sleep for it or missing out on social events. So yeah, that's why I'm saying, you know, 11 for me was a good time to go to bed, and it helped me a lot. And finally, I put phone free time and grayscale time. So what I used to do is I used to try and leave my phone in my room. I didn't even turn it on until a certain time of the day, hopefully lunch, and then I only have it with me and turned on until evening. I mean, I still have WhatsApp web on my computer if anyone needs to contact me. And making the conscious choice to have time away from my phone meant that it encouraged me to live in the moment. So sometimes I go in the common room, I didn't have my phone with me. Like if I didn't really have anyone to speak to, if I didn't really have anyone to speak to, I just kind of scroll. I'd be like, no, I'm just gonna sit there and, you know, maybe someone will start a conversation with me, maybe I'll compliment someone on their outfit and we'll start speaking like that. It would encourage me to do things that I wouldn't have do things that I wouldn't have done otherwise. And essentially even if I wasn't being social, I could sit and read a newspaper. And I think there's so much more to life than just spending all the time on your phone. Now, I don't do that so much. What I do more is I have it in grayscale, or I just turn it off, even if I have it with me. Because obviously if you're going somewhere at night, you don't want to go without your phone in case it's an emergency or something like that. But having it in grayscale basically means that you won't see the red of notifications that's kind of trying to make you, it's trying to pull you in. And all your notification stuff, they don't seem so attractive. Insert another study here, if I find it, about like red being the color that triggers you. It's, you know, it's the color they use to like make balls run towards you. I don't know if that's the right way of explaining it, but it's, you know, it is a danger color. And that's why the app developers use it. They want you to see it and like click and be like, oh, I need to click on it. And then suddenly when I put my phone in grayscale, I'm kind of realized like, oh, you know what, that person messaged me and that's fine, I can read it later. It doesn't have this same sense of urgency. So it definitely helped me. And I still try and choose to leave my phone at home, or choose to do things, think before I leave, instead of just automatically taking my phone. If I'm just going from my room to the kitchen, do I need my phone with me? No, I can just leave it in my room. If someone calls me, well, I can hear them call, or if not, if it's really, really urgent, then, you know, you can bring your phone with you. But I strongly believe that the universe has got a plan. And so I just think, you know, okay, what if I miss out on something because I didn't have my phone with me? Well, actually, that's okay, because maybe that wasn't meant to be. Yeah, so there's my 8 main tips, and the last 2 are, one is wearing a watch, which I ironically don't have on right now, but I try to as much as possible, and it means that I can just check the watch to see the time instead of checking my phone and then getting swept away in the whole, like, the digital universe, checking, because suddenly you check your phone to see the time, and it's kind of like a scam. You check to see the time, and then suddenly you're clicking beneath to say like, oh my goodness, I don't know, this celebrity broke up with this celebrity, click on it. Or like there's news or there's a message and you just get swept away and absorbed in your phone. So that's something I really enjoyed. And yeah, I put morning routine, which I already touched on. Don't think, just do. So in this sheet that I wrote for myself, which has got like all my tips for myself about my mental health, I said morning routine, which I do every day. I do my stretching, gratefulness diary, prayers, fill out my water, a bullet journal to have my intentions for the day, vitamins, do my bed, cold shower. A lot of that, I don't do that every day now, but I still do quite a few of those things. And I think just having that same thing you do every single day at the same time, you don't have time to think. You just autopilot, you do these things, and then suddenly you're ready for the day is kind of what it feels like. That's the last thing I wanted to end with is being positive to yourself and writing a gratefulness diary. It can really rewire the way you think. So at the start, as you can see here, I wrote like self-love, and it was just like speaking kindly to myself and being nice, because essentially I was in it's tough going abroad. Year abroad is difficult. You're gonna have new experiences. Your friends aren't gonna be there. And so I wrote, hey Andrew, you're doing well. I just want to remind you of that. You're in a new country with new people and constantly adapting to find out what makes you happy and what you want to get from this experience. Don't beat yourself up or get angry just because you're feeling any sort of way. I'm so proud of you for everything that you've done so far, and it's now time to plan how we're gonna maximize your last 3 months here. And yeah, I think I'm really good at being kind and caring to my friends, and I'm just trying to do that to myself and not tell myself I'm stupid or an idiot just because I dropped my phone or because I did something that was stupid. Doing something stupid doesn't mean you are stupid. So that definitely, I'm still working on it. I'm still trying to be kind to myself. But if you tell yourself you're stupid, finally you actually begin to believe it, which is quite a scary prospect. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, take care. Mwah.